So I would be remiss not to say this. And I think this probably won't resonate with those of you that are in your 20s or just starting off in your career, but it'll give you a perspective that will help you in your future career. But for those of you that are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and up, I believe this message will resonate with you. You'll get what I'm talking about. So, I want to say that it's important for us not to, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm driving. You know, I always have my deep thoughts on my way to work or from work. But I want to say that it's important for us not to feel discouraged just because plan A didn't work out the way we thought it should. So this could pertain to people who had a plan to get married by a certain age and have kids by a certain age, and it just didn't happen for you. And that's okay. I did get married, had my daughter, and then went through a divorce. And what I can say is, what I had planned for myself, my plan A, it didn't work for me. And I always have like financial plans for myself, right? You know, mom's money mindset, which is kind of like a child company of Money Makeover Ministries. I'm always talking about managing your mindset, managing your money, okay? And so I had a plan A for my finances, and it included my spouse. It included us working together to build. But in going through a divorce, my plan A just didn't pan out. And that's okay. And so did I give up and say, oh, well, I can't pay off debt, or I can't build or save or invest? No, I just decided, well, let me execute plan B. And so I focused on executing plan B to do all the things I needed to do in my finances. But even plan B didn't pan out. Because why? Well, then you go through different circumstances. I went through some health challenges. And so plan B didn't pan out. And things happen. It's not for you to say, oh, my plan didn't work, let me give up. Well, plan B didn't work out, so what's next? Plan C. And you continue with the next plan. You always come up with, okay, look, if this doesn't work out this way, I can go on to this next plan. And even if you don't have a plan C figured out and plan B doesn't work out, start thinking through, what next? What can I do next? Because the goal didn't change. Just because your circumstances changed doesn't mean your goal changed. It just means the path you take to get to that goal might change. So I executed plan C. And did I pay off all of my student loan debt and my consumer debt, totaling $200,000? And you'll have to check out some of my earlier videos for why I had that much debt, but I did. And just so you know, those student loans went to good work, because I did get multiple degrees, and each of those degrees served me well with my skills, my experience, as well as my salary. But I will say this.
Police reported ahead.
Oh, police. Yeah, there's an accident on this highway, but that's why we're going really slow. But I will say this. Even though my plan A and my plan B didn't work out for me, I didn't give up on my goal.
Take exit 76B for Woodlands Parkway.
I want her to be quiet. Even though my plan, her, meaning my navigation, but even though my plan A and plan B didn't work out the way I'd expected it to, I still stuck with my goal, and that was to pay off my student loan and consumer debt. So I say all that to say, don't stress about or worry or feel like you're a failure because the plan that you had for yourself didn't work out the way you had intended. I recently changed careers, not necessarily the work, but the company. And I noticed that in that change, a lot of people were really shocked because I had been at my previous employer for over 13 years. And so, my plan was to retire at that company. But the company began changing their business model, and when that business model changed, which business models change, right? That's not a problem. But when a business model changes and you're trying to figure out where you fit in and you just really don't see where your future fits in based on the change of the business model, it's not a time for you to panic and cry and say, well, what am I going to do about my retirement? And no, it's time for you to start thinking of plan B. Well, my plan A might not pan out for me, and maybe plan A might pan out for you. You might just have to take a detour for the time being. But regardless, if it doesn't pan out the way you had intended, well, maybe there are other ways in which you will retire. Some people rely heavily on their 401k or their pension or Social Security, but that's not the only way to make income in retirement. I see people day trading. I've learned to day trade. I just haven't been able to sit down and do it because I work a 9 to 5. I'm in the office, and I'd rather sit in front of the computer and trade and not just set it on my phone and forget it type thing until I get really comfortable with my trades. But then there's people that invest in real estate, or or they invest in growth stock mutual funds, and they're investing, and the money that they've invested is making interest, right? And that's additional income for them. Or they're investing in real estate where you have rental properties, and those rental properties are producing monthly income for you. And so that could be part of your retirement plan. So even though plan A didn't pan out the way you had intended it to, that doesn't mean that you still can't retire with the finances that you would like to retire with. You just might have to take a different route towards getting to your retirement financial goals. And so I just really want to encourage you out there, and I especially talk to us single moms because, a lot of times, when you're married, you, not always, but typically there's a dual income, and you and your spouse kind of work through those plans together, those retirement and financial plans together. But when you're single, it's on you. And when you have children, they're relying solely on you to figure it out. So be encouraged. Don't get down on yourself just because your original plan didn't work out the way you had intended it to. Maybe it was meant for you to take a different direction. And when other people look at you and say, well, why are you making these type of decisions? They seem rash. Well, the path that you're taking isn't meant for them to understand, because it's not meant for them to take that path. It was meant for you to take the path. And it reminds me of the book, or the short story, Who Said That taking the road less traveled by made all the difference. And so if you find yourself taking a different path than you had planned, seems like a different path from everyone else, know that that detour is what might make the difference in your finances, in your health. Because I believe if some people had have made some changes in their careers, they would still be alive to this day. That plan B or plan C, that detour, it could change your life. So be encouraged.